Mylene looked more half human, half Zentradi than Amelia was like way more Zentradi. Now
She's not a. She seems to be not an H of a daughter, unless
an H of a daughter.
that there's not a. He's not. She is not one of Max's daughters, so it could be a granddaughter.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Macross Delta, or possibly, in fact, the same episode of Macross Delta. As we previously said, we were watching the Prefetch edition, which is Macross Delta 0.89. We are now going into Macross Delta 1 Plus, which is, I don't remember if it has its own specific name, but it's essentially like Macross Frontier Episode 1's Deculture Edition. Or Yak Culture Edition. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's just Deculture Edition. Anyway, we have a comment from Macross Dynamite 7, episode Cemetery, from Elios. Quadruple 0. I want to say Mylene is 17 at this point, and yeah, fuck this woman on so many levels. Also, the gal, she says, trying drug Max and Amelia's kid. I like to think Max just shoves her out an airlock. And yeah, they got away with a lot more in the 90s, more so on OVA anime. Meanwhile, Basara, tripping balls. Upside, we get Feel Universe, which one of Macross' best songs. I like Add Communal Bathing was in the 90s and still pretty normal and totally non-sexual within family. Basara being there is a bit odd, but...
I think something that I said that wasn't as much as a bad thing. I mean, father and daughter, and they're in the common bath. Okay, fine, whatever. Basara just being there like, I'm like, oh, what the hell are you doing here? Aside from the rest, well, like that one episode has now been called the not so stone face reaction. So I think that it speaks for itself.
Yeah, as per that comment. Different comment.
Anyway, you were gonna continue on the comment?
Actually, no, we don't have any other comments. It would be the board and notes and whatnot.
Okay, let's do the board then. All the way down to Delta 2067. So it's been
first up, actually,
55 years.
To the new theory up on the side.
Uh-huh.
I've added these two because I believe they represent two new races.
Okay.
Obviously don't know what race they are, but I believe they represent new races. They could just be human, but, you know, certain races we have experienced only have the difference of ears. So, I don't know. I think the hair and the face thing could represent new race.
I mean, they look human to me, so...
Yeah, so does every Zentradi that looks like a human that just doesn't have their ears revealed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying, that your opinion that they look human doesn't mean anything in a realm where everybody looks human.
Yeah. Oh, you have the protoculture, so there you go.
Well, yeah, you don't need to investigate the rest of New Theory. New Theory is the same theory that's existed since Macross 7. I'm just stating that I added those two people.
Mm-hmm. This is 55 years into the future, yeah.
Well, it's 8 years into the future.
8 years after Frontier, but from the very beginning, it's a total of 55 years so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really care about where we're at from the start of the show, because we move incrementally down the line.
Yeah.
If we were to make some sort of end comparison, we would make a comparison at the end. Don't go reading names yet. You know, I have a whole board change log. You're trying to get ahead of me by, like, you're doing the... I almost got political for a second. You know, you're thinking, how will you get political about that? Well, there's this whole thing going on where we keep getting hit by change after change without being able to, you know, rally around what's actually happening. That's what you're doing to me right now.
Okay.
All right, well, the board change log. I added Reina Prowler, McKenna Nakajima, Messer Eilefeld, Chuck Mustang, Mirage Farina Genus, Makumo Geiner, the red hair. Sorry, I should also preface the rules exist as we've previously been using them. If they say part of their name, that means I've got their name. So also the red-haired Walkier girl, Arid Molders, and Lady M. Connected them together as a group with a green line. I added Hayate Immelman, Frejo Yan, connected them together with a green line, connected both of them to Mirage Farina Genus with a green line. I added White Knight, which I'm sure is not his name, just like a code name, Helman Klaus, Bogue Convarat, and 3 other unnamed members of the Aerial Knights and connected them together with a green line. And then I added a red line between the Aerial Knights and a Delta Squad / Walkier.
I mean, to me, it seems that the Aerial Knights are just, well, they seem to want to conquer that planet. I think there seems to be behind the whole.
No, I think it's a fight. I think it's a interplanetary fight going on between 2 different, maybe not star systems. Maybe it could be 2 different planets in the same system. No, that doesn't seem right. No, it has to be in planets between 2 different star systems because they're separated by 30 light years. That would be a hell of a extreme 1 star system. Well, that was my board changelog, but you didn't say anything really about the board.
No, I was talking about who was fighting who. Said, well, I have notes. I was like, okay, let's not talk about that.
But no, I was commenting about you didn't have notes. I'm still
true.
jabbing at that one.
And the very long line from Mirage Farina Genius all the way to Max?
Nope.
Or Mireia?
Nope. I mean, technically, maybe. But that's not where the line goes. I feel like you're just looking at the line goes up and just trying to skip where the line goes without following the line.
Well, it goes all the way to Melia, and then
no,
Max
it
and
stops well
Mylene.
before then, actually.
It doesn't hit anybody.
I mean, literally, the
Frontier.
shortcut here would just be see where's my cursor at.
Emilia.
Yeah. It just joins the line at Amelia. I mean, hell, look at this. Boom. See how it separates? Because it's not technically the same line? Right, because it just joins right there. It joins the family line. It doesn't go all the way up.
I mean, once it's connected, it goes all the way up.
Right, but that's not this line. You said, where does this line go? This line goes up to Amelia Genus because it joins that family line.
Well, we'll probably know more about her as we watch these episodes.
I don't think we're ever going to figure out who she is. What's the counter to that, Lessons? I will probably learn more about her later. Nah, fuck that. I don't ever want to learn about her. In fact, I hope she disappears next episode. I hope she has as much screen time as Amelia did in that movie. That we just never find out what's going on. Why would you
want to counter that?
I, in fact, hope you forget that there was a poster of the family in that movie and never think about even looking at that again. I hope she gets erased from history. Like, what's my counter to your statement, Lessons?
There is no counter. Don't counter it. It's just a statement.
Well, it's like, what do I add? What do I add to, well, hopefully they'll just learn about her later. Yeah, also, hopefully no one else dies. And hopefully everything turns out well. Hopefully people sing songs. You know? Like, I hope everything is gumdrops and rainbows from here on out.
Don't forget lollipops.
I can. I'm pretty sure it's just gumdrops and rainbows.
I think it also has lollipops.
I know there's a thing with lollipops, but I think we're just thinking like a different song.
Okay.
Lollipop, lollipop.
Oh, no.
2 different songs.
Different song. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other notes about the board?
Nope.
See, this is why. Well, another reason I was really hoping you would come with notes today, because this was a lot of work. It doesn't seem like a lot of work. I mentioned this off camera before. There's no behind the voice actors for Delta. I had to find how to figure out what these people were. Not figure out how these people. I had to find where to get the images and shit for them.
Without spoiling yourself.
Yeah. So this was a lot of fucking work to do, and then kept realizing, oh, that's another character. Oh, that's actually another character. That guy who shows up in the background screen of another character who's also not named is himself another character. It's like, Jesus. That's what I was hoping. You were going to come with some hard-hitting stuff that you noticed that I would also miss. Like, I was prepared to get fucking shamed that I was going to be so excited about all the shit that I found out, and you'd be like, no, this is this, and this is this, and this, you didn't notice this? Like, damn it.
Real life got in the way.
So notes, of which there are mine.
Yes.
So the lines stretching out from Earth in the opening graphic don't have the same names as the one in Macross Frontier. Not helped by the fact that we see it sideways and slightly blurrier than the Macross Frontier shot as well. There are 3 main colors of paths. The puke green ones heading away from the camera that have generic names. These seem to indicate either failed colony ships or ships still in transit, as by the end of the graphic, 7 of them end in X's, red X's, and 8 more of them are still going. Confusingly, none of them state Eden on them, so this graphic could possibly just be a new wave of ships launched from Earth, and not a timeline of events from the beginning, like in Macross Frontier. Then there is the purple line heading right at the camera, labeled Windermere, while the other in orange, named Ragna. These clearly head to planets of that name, which would indicate to me that the puke green lines, random letter/number combos are likely scientific names for stars that they are headed towards, whereas Windermere and Ragna had already been named, I guess. All the names also have numbers above them that change as the lines move. At first, I thought they might be galactic coordinates. Oddly, Windermere and Ragna both have the same numbers above them, even when they were in completely different positions, but end on different coordinates as they wind up in different locations.
Are they dates?
No. Sorry, I had a note about what the numbers were, but as they change moving forwards, they don't change in the same way. It's just like one is over here and one's over here, and they have the same numbers. Like the ones in the background are all different, but these two are like different locations and they're the same. But when they get to the location, Windermere and Ragna, they mostly are the same, but they have different like endings. So
Population?
I don't. No, they're way too long. That's why I thought they might be coordinates. Right? VAR syndrome. Again, some of my notes are just piecemeal because, again, I'm trying to keep my notes in a way that I will just be able to keep referencing as we go on instead of deleting them as I normally do. So some of these are just piecemeal so I can like backtrack and look at my own notes later on down the road. VAR syndrome, a mental abnormality that develops without warning. Bursting veins on body. We saw eating an apple like food with veiny protrusions all over it, which might imply that it's not just to people, also apparently fruits or vegetables. The victim in the first photo, in the first minute, looks human. In the second photo, 2 of the attackers have veins covering their body, while the one closest to the camera has white covering part of his face. Again, that's why I brought up the new theory, showing one of them as possibly a different race. Although he appears to be fleeing the attack, so possibly a new race. In the third photo are 2 macronized Zentradi in pickle green skin mode, covered in veins, suffering from the condition, and possibly related to organismic fold waves. I can hear the word possibly. It is related to that.
I mean, they said that they could detect those fold waves in the episode, so it's like that seems to be the trigger somehow.
Though they indicated that the organismic. Sorry, I'm desperately fighting saying orgasmic fold waves. Well, because it reads that when I'm looking at the word, the it's Orga, and then an N next to an I could really easily be read as an M, and then from there it's just real simple Freudian slip. They indicated, sorry, it's somewhere down further in my notes. I'm not looking at them yet. Like there's 10 cases of it on Al-Shahala, I believe it's called, and 3 of them were near organismic bold waves. Sorry, this is going to be a problem for me because it's like when I'm reacting to Voltace 5 and we have the Boasnians, and I keep thinking to myself, Bosnians. So, well, because it reads like Bosnians, which is just an extra OA in the middle of it. And then somebody in the thing is telling me to pronounce it like B-O-W. It's like B-O-A-Z-A-N-I-Z-A-N, something like that. Boasnians or something like that. And he's like, no, just go ahead and just pronounce it like B-O-W, Znians. Bosnians. Bosnians. No, that's Bosnian. Bosnians. I don't know. It's fucking difficult unless I'm looking at my notes. It's just...
Them aliens attacking, yeah, they'll see.
Yeah. Alright, the narrator states that there are people that have risen up against it, and while it would seem to have implied the VAR syndrome itself, that makes a little sense. I would have to believe that the it is actually the violence that has the public terrified. This Walkir essentially fights terrorism with technology and music. Although, well, to the events of the episode, it does actually seem like they fight VAR syndrome too, so maybe it did actually mean that they fight VAR syndrome. I don't know if VAR syndrome is associated with the apple-looking fruit, as indicated that first guy seemed to be eating one that was covered in the veiny protrusions, but it is suspicious that was the first thing we were shown, and suddenly our first point-of-view character in a shipping hold filled with it on its way to planet Al-Shahal.
I mean, there has to be a way to transmit it, other than by folding it in. So I would think the foldways would activate it rather than transport it.
Well, I think my theory is more along the lines that the plant has something in it, and you eat it, and then the sound wave through fold activates whatever. But I've got another theory that kind of possibly discounts that, or tells us that our main character might be more special than that. I'm going to go ahead and say Hayate has a fold crystal. I have no idea why he does, but we just got through all of Macross Frontier focusing on these things and their import. It just seems unlikely that 8 years later they wouldn't be a thing.
But this is Macross, so...
According to Hayate's pay slip, he works for Al-Shahal Logistics, and the date is currently April 20th, 2067. He is the number 3 transporter. He made 103,680 something. Clearly, he thinks that's a small amount. No overtime pay, late night allowance, holiday allowance, overtime allowance. He's been absent for 3 days this pay period and worked 81 hours.
Well, it depends. Is it a month or a week?
I very specifically said pay period.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I only got the half of the slip because, I had to take a screenshot of the slip, then spin it around, and then zoom in on it, and then pass that through an image translator. So I only got half of the read. Just a note, Hayate got paid, told he was fired, then his boss says, "It's your last day, see it through to the end, eh?" On what planet? Because it surely ain't this one. You paid me, and I'm fired? My ass is gone to do something else the rest of the day. I mean, if I really need it, this is time to start trying to find another job.
Yep. Which you may already have.
Oh, I doubt it. Visa the rest of the episode. Sorry, Visa V the rest of the episode. Al-Shahal has public speakers playing music, kind of like how that planet in Macross Dynamite 7 had public speakers playing audiobooks. I guess if we are carrying forwards the idea behind Sound Force, then public speakers playing specific songs would not only cure diseases and depression, but might also be a means of fighting the VAR syndrome, as Hayate indicates.
I don't think that. Well, depression, yes, but not other
We've
diseases.
argued this. Give it up, Lessons. You were wrong. You're fucking
am-
wrong. You are wrong.
I am not
100%.
wrong.
I've gone back. I liked Macross 7. I've gone back and watched. You're just wrong. I don't know. Here's my olive branch on this.
Okay.
Just stop bringing it up.
You brought it up.
No. I'm going to keep bringing it up because I'm right. That's my olive branch.
Okay.
Stop causing the argument. It's my olive branch because you know it's going to happen. I wonder what the reason is. Sorry. I wonder what the reason is for Walkir to be auditioning for new members. Did they lose someone, or are they did they lose some, as in some members? Or are they generally just trying to fill in their ranks? Hayate points out later in the episode that one of them is out of sync, so maybe one of them is infected or losing their ability to sing effectively. The text on the poster that Freya pulls out says conference when coming to Macross Elysian venue at Laura Lanka. Barentanti Chaos Lagna branch base. Please register at the reception desk. I'm pointing out that this is all in Japanese on a poster, so it's good to get whatever I got. Mirage Farina Genius is from Chaos, as she says, so it doesn't seem to be a random word. Access to the reception venue, and that's right above the button that says register, so it seems like anything made of paper in this world is also just a hyperlink or whatever. But I did add the little note here, subject to translation errors, of course. But the fact that chaos is on there and just seems to be a random word in the middle of it, but then later on Mirage Farina Genius says that she's in chaos. Al Shahal is 30 light years from Ragna. Al Shahal spaceport connects to Sharasti. Well, remember, Sharasti came under attack during the episode, but that was shit that I'm just taking in from my notes later.
Yeah.
Freya says that she loves singing so much that her rune would start to shine. We later see in the episode that her heart pendant shines when she's excited, but only sometimes, reminding me of a fold crystal as well. I wonder if that is her rune that she was speaking of.
Which is interesting because I think I don't even have a note about why she escaped. She said that she was getting into an arranged marriage and she didn't want to do that.
She was lying. I do have a note about that. I don't have a note about the arranged marriage because that was a lie. Because remember, the mayor of the village said that she was idling around at 14 when she could be doing stuff, so she was trying to get married to the second son of an apple farmer. Off the top of my head, because again, I'm paying attention, but it was all a lie. It doesn't matter. I'm remembering a lie. Freya talks about the sound of Hayate dancing as being in blue or white. His necklace crystal is blue, in case that means anything. While the music of Walkir being the color of the wind. She later hears Mikumu humming and calls it the color of the rainbow. Then later identifies her in the chaos of the battle as a rainbow-colored voice. I don't know if this is a gabble affectation, calling everything beautiful, for example, but until it's indicated to be meaningless, something I'm trying to keep an eye on.
I mean, you can describe musical tones as being light or dark. I don't know.
This isn't light or dark, though. She's using colors, specific colors.
Yeah, I know. This. I don't know about specific colors, but yeah, people have described or tend to describe music in light and dark tones, but again, no specific unless you can see them.
As I said, I'm keeping an eye on it. Made a note. There have been 10 cases of VAR syndrome just this month on Al Shahal, 3 involving organismic fold waves. An 11th case was detected 15 hours before episode 0.89 began.
I do like the fact that they are tracking this and they're being proactive about it.
Well,
Like, they're not waiting around. They're like, oh, hey, we detected. Okay, we're going to move to be ready for whatever's going to happen here, which is why they're there when stuff happens.
Lady M has tasked us with figuring out the truth. I guess the Charlie of this Charlie's Angels task force. When the Citrani guy goes Alvaro syndrome, we see a long staircase with somebody at the top apparently singing into a portal or something. But the room also seems to be filled with purple fold crystals. Freya's heart seems to be lighting up, but I can't tell if Hiate's is. I'd say no, but it's a dark purple normally, and it's hard to tell if it gets lighter just due to the sunlight hitting it. It's far less distinct. Regardless, everyone can hear it, so clearly the organismic fold waves we were told about, corroborating, sorry. I also wrote these like late at night, and I have something I've been encountering in a lot of my notes lately is that I'm just typoing like crazy. Like, I don't know if I'm just getting stupider. Like, the thought process is there, but my inability to express what I'm trying to type, like, literally I just had to fill out a form for the government expressing how my ability to concentrate, remember, and focus is all being really hampered. And I'm just seeing it when I try to reread my notes. Like, I mean, what I wrote here is corroborated by nameless bridge character moments later. But I was completely unable to read my own thoughts for half a second or figure out what I was trying to say. Also, neurons in the Zentradi brain are colored the same way that the strange apples are, though maybe unconnected considering Freya lived on a diet of those apples for a long time and was fine when the singing happened, though could be related to her rune glow protecting her somehow.
She's naturally immune because she's attuned to these organismic.
Could be that it
waves?
comes from Windermere. Windermere might be responsible, and that she's a from Windermere. Oh, yeah, that's why I said she's lying. Singing is mystery. Singing is love. Singing is hope. Singing is life.
Good for singing.
They say it in the transformation sequence. They are kind of like Basara, I guess, Walkure. They're kind of like Basara meets Kira. They make every battlefield a concert, and they aim to disable rather than kill. At the same time, this has a real Symphogear energy to it.
Yeah, but they seem to. First of all, it seems to be a coordinated strategy. It's something that they made it from the very beginning, and they are trained to do this.
I feel the energy that you're coming in here to insult Basara as quickly as possible, but I'm saying that Basara ran out into battlefields and made concerts out of them, which is what they're doing. I'm not saying, hey, they're 100% like Basara. Arguments? That's not what I'm pulling out here. I'm just saying they're like Basara meets Kira, and Akira rushes out to a battlefield and, like, wings everybody. That's what they're doing here. They're not trying to kill anybody. All of their shots are to take weapons out of hands and disable whatever you call the Zentradi pod things. Starts with a G, I can't think of the name. But they're also like Basara in that way as well. And I don't know if you've even seen Symphogear to get the reference.
No, I heard about it, but no, I haven't.
Well, we watched, it is a game, but we've also watched like all 6 seasons, like Symphogear, Symphogear X, Symphogear GX, Symphogear XV. There's a whole series of things. I understand that there is possibly another Symphogear thing coming out, which I will have to watch solo, which will be, maybe I have to rewatch Symphogear by myself at some point. I don't know. Whoever they are, the aerial knights stand opposed to Walkure and Delta Squadron.
On the side of
Windermere.
the virus?
I'm assuming Windermere. So Freya comes from a cold planet. You wouldn't guess that from the name Freya, I assume. Freya comes from a cold planet where everything got burnt down, as we see a very young version of her staring up at the flames with the phone that she still has in her hands. She says the spirit of Windermere, and Hate seems surprised that she'd be from there, though it finally calls back the thing I mentioned from the map at the start of the episode, the other Walkir members feel it when she starts singing. The red-haired one, I don't know the name of yet, stating that there is a reaction while seemingly looking at an image of a heart that has the text "Fold Sonar" next to it. So I think this is going to be Sound Force, but as the centerpiece from the start.
I better done. Well, like I said, I think they are much better. I also like we talked about this in watching the episode, how they use the technology, like the shield technology, the drones and stuff like that, and that the singers were not simply just singing; they were part of the battle tactics. They could jump and do all kinds of things, and they're using holograms. So, yeah,
that's all Lessons needs. They could jump.
I mean,
more than a white man can do.
No, that's not what I meant.
I didn't make the movie. I mean, pointedly, the movie proves white men can jump. It was the grift all along. That's why you get made so much money. Everyone thought white men can't jump, but it turns out white men can jump.
But the whole thing is that normally they would be singing in the way you expected that the Valkyries would be protecting the singer. Singer would just be there, just singing, right? In this situation, they're out fighting and they can even block shots and do all the things, right? So they're active participants in their own defense and far better coordinated. Also, on the idea of doing non-lethal damage is that they understand that these people are victims of this VAR syndrome. So apparently, they can't control themselves, so they're not gonna just kill people because they're sick, which it's pretty smart.
Unless you're in a zombie apocalypse.
It doesn't seem to be. Well, it seems like it could be a zombie apocalypse, but it's not yet a zombie apocalypse.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying you're saying it's smart. I'm saying no, trying to save people in a zombie apocalypse is how you get more people infected.
Well, you can't save the zombies because you can't reverse the effect. They seem to be able to reverse the effect. If you could reverse the effect in a zombie apocalypse, then why kill people if you can cure them?
Because the cure might not be readily available. You might cause more people to die trying to save people that you can't effectively save. If there's a higher cost to trying to save people than the amount of people saved, then it's not worth trying to save people.
That doesn't seem to be the case here.
If you're gonna get 1 million people killed to save 500,000 people, then you probably don't need. That's not a good math. That's not good math.
Like I said, it doesn't seem to be the situation here.
That's not what I was indicating. I'm just indicating your argument. Your argument was flawed.
Not in this case.
Your argument was flawed as a general statement of fact, which is what you presented it as.
Yet it applies to the situation as is.
I see. I was going to stop, but then you did this whole move. Which just challenges more. Yes, it applies here, but it is not a rule because it doesn't apply everywhere. My thing was I was literally just going to say, okay, well, we're both right here. But then you're like, so what next, Batman? Or whatever that eye indicates. Well, I mean... Any thoughts do you have that even though you didn't write any notes down might still be wandering around in there?
No, I'm going to look forward to see what actually are the changes in this episode that we didn't see in the 0.89 version of the 0.89 version of it. I don't expect much, but there might be something. Compare and contrast. I'm looking forward to that.
All right. Well, I say let's go ahead and hop on into it.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
It also might have been an element of why the 0.89 episode was longer than another version of it that I had previously gotten. because it matches the length of this episode, and maybe that was sort of their non-spoiler thing to make both versions the same length, although even the last one's filled with a lot of empty space.
様々な異星人と遭遇し、一大星間文明を築きつつあった。だが宇宙には
See, Windermere and Ranga.
脅威が数多い。
I mean, Ragna.
Ragnas and Ragnarok, I guess.
I don't think so. Windermere isn't related to any of that.
Yeah. The Valkyr.
No, it's Walkyr. Walkyr.
Valkyr, yeah.
Like Walkyr.
その脅威に完全と立ち向かう者たちがいた。戦術音楽ユニット、ワルキューレ。彼女たちの時空を超えた歌声と、それを守り戦うデルタ小隊。今、新たなステージが幕を上げる。
I like that intro.
I think Mylene could beat up Renka.
Why would they be fighting?
You disagree? I think it. You think Renka
I
could
just
take on Mylene?
Why would they be fighting though?
Who cares? Death battle the situation.
Doesn't make any sense.
One thing, Mylene has sound force. Renka doesn't.
Renka has the SMS behind her.
Okay. Mylene has Max behind her, and Milia. I think Max and Milia take out the SMS.
That's true.
They fucking lost their best sniper already. Wait, what?
What?
Oh, never mind. That's the same. He hasn't gotten into it because he only gets into it after he gets fired. Weirdly. That's how jobs work, right? You get fired first and then you go to work. Like I said, I had to pause on that and flip it over just to see what it said. It's weird that he says this, but he only has like 3 days not going to work. Oh, that's new. I don't remember seeing the car. Maybe I'm wrong. That could be the same. Again, this is the same thing I talk about when I say I'm bad at watching an anime that I've read the manga for. Because all I'm doing is looking for changes or what's not the same. Also, you know, just got fired. Great time to steal a worker mech and see how it sells for.
Yeah, sure.
White or blue? There you go.
It seemed like the thing.
See, it was also glowing right there, so it glows when she sings. Also, you know she's been going to the bathroom in there. She says it. She says it when she takes her out. Difficult going to the bathroom. Because you'd have to figure out where you've gone to the bathroom and not eat the apples in that area. Also, it has to stink in there.
Yeah.
Particularly of rotting apples, but also, you know, feces. Apple-scented feces. Again, all a lie.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's elements of truth in there, but we see her flashback to the past at the end of the episodes. hungry.
腹減った
おう
ずっとリンゴしか食べれんかったからしびるね
しかし結婚したくないくらいで密航ね
Mhm.
それだけじゃないよ
Nope, on your way to Ragna to the auditions for Walkure. But Ragna's 30 light years away.
バールを歌で鎮圧するとかっていう
As we all know, Sound Force defeats diseases,
で
including diseases Lessons here has.
来週このラグナ
Sure.
製で新メンバー
And
の
if you don't believe me, watch an extra episode of Macross 7.
ほいな
Mhm.
でもここラグナ製じゃないけど
For today only,
ある
I'm choosing not to hear
ラグナ
sarcasm.
30光年隣
Yeah.
See? Didn't even hear that.
やっちまった
残念まあ諦めるんだなほら食え
One of the strangest things I found from this episode was how the ship's crew keeps chasing her down.
Yeah.
Like, after she gets off of your ship, she's no longer a stowaway, and what is your financial obligation to chase her down? How do you make money at that point?
I think they make an example of her so nobody else does it, but
It's too late.
歌ってると生きてる
Literally, those guys who aren't working, chasing her down, aren't working, and they're using company resources.
くだらないオーディションなんて落ちるに決まってる
絶対落ちん風に乗れば飛べるそんぐらい大事なの
Alto told me that. Where did you find Alto?
ないよ
趣味とか恋人とか
ない
Turns out Hayate is actually Alto's kid.
好きも嫌いもあるかよ
wow, only 5 years later, huh?
Well,
He's like, what,
8
16
years.
already?
8 years later.
大きな
So he's 8 years old?
It's a fucking anime character. He could be 30 for all we know.
おにぎりごちそうさまです
Also, who's to know that Alto didn't travel through time and space?
Oh god, not this again.
They literally said that.
ようこそアルシャハルへシャハルシティへに
How that? Saharista.
ちょっと
Saharisti. The guy said.
Yeah.
Made a fucking note about everything.
Yeah.
これが都会ね
You never seen a city before, I guess?
全こんね
Literally a country bumpkin, huh?
この声
Sounds like a rainbow to me.
虹の色
And we're gonna note that rainbow exclusively with the color green.
何俺どうかしたニコモなんでもないわ
I almost made a note about like the technology, like the glasses, the do AR, and the cell phone fingernails. But it's like, Grace had more technology than that, so it's like this isn't really all that advanced.
104式に
Regalt. I was wrong. I said G. I was probably just thinking the word Gerwalk or something.
キラレーナ複合センサー異常なし
A form we haven't seen in forever.
今度うちの店で辛味噌クラゲ餃子ってのを出すんだけど
Chuck.
よかったら
That's Chuck.
いいクラゲは生がいい生で丸飲み
クラゲの刺身に
Arden?
バナナ酒
It's a name. I can't remember. Ardad. Arad.
夢中だぞチャック
And that guy,
Yeah.
whose name I do have. I just they say it later when in a dogfight. I don't remember it. He only says this once.
発生しているそのうち3件で生体
Now, did that guy shoot himself in the head, or did he get shot in the head?
シャハルシティの近辺でも
Don't seem to be any cops around, so I think he shot
No, I
himself.
think that other guy in the white was a cop. I can't tell though.
レディ M からのご命令だ
See, Lady M.
さあうちのまっすぐ娘はどうだ
さああの子と一緒じゃ
Maybe she's rainbow because in the poster her hair color was different than the actual her looking at the poster.
まったくいつもこれだから
ふざけやがって
Starting to think Max is losing out on the genetic pool.
What do you mean?
The kids are getting more and more Zentradi as time goes on.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know if
Mylene looked more half human, half Zentradi than Amelia was like way more Zentradi.
飛べば
Now,
she's not a. She seems to be not an age of a daughter, unless
an H of a daughter.
that there's not a. He's not. She is not one of Max's daughter, so it could be a granddaughter.
I don't think so. I think we're going to be riding this SDF Macross train as hard as we can. Also, it would imply it'd be one of Max's granddaughters from a daughter that never got married.
I mean, he had 7 or 8 daughters, so one of them has to get married.
No, it's still the last name Genus, so they didn't get married. So, child out of wedlock, never took a father's name, that sort of thing. That's what I'm saying. I feel like they're going to ride that SDF Macross connection all the way down.
It could be the second name could be...
It's not hyphenated. You would hyphenate it in that case. Because otherwise you're putting it in the middle name position.
たかがオーディションにそんな価値なんてあるかよ。
ある。さっきからなんでそんなことばっか言うんかね。
なかったからだよ。なも。散々
But Hate, what about my star?
Hayate.
That's what I said.
俺だってどこかに何かあるんじゃないかって思ってた。
Who the hell is Hate?
I said Hayate.
Huh?
I said Hayate. Hate is a character from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, sounded like you say Hate. I was like, who the hell is that?
We want to start making fun of each other for what it sounds like we're saying? Because we could do that all day if you want.
I'm not saying that...
Oh, all day. We could do that for another hour and a half, possibly, if you want.
And there she slips.
Also, if memory serves, I think you were shitting on this show for CGI? Was that this show?
No, CGI is later on.
I don't even remember having a problem with it. To the point where I was even doubting if you were talking about this show or it was another show we were watching. See, at least she did that.
すみませんでした。
あんた空港の警備員じゃないな。何者だ。
ケイオス、ラグナ第三戦闘航空団デルタ小隊所属。ミラージュ・ファリーナ・ジーナス少尉です。
デルタ小隊？
あなたのお名前は？
ハヤテインメルマン。
苦情でしたら広報に。
What?
デルタ小隊ってひょっとしてワルキューレと一緒に飛んだる？
You said something, but you didn't like complete a thought or anything. So I don't know.
No, I'm talking about Farina. Farina sounds familiar as well. I think that would be Milia Farina. Yeah.
See, like I said, it was glowing there. So it does it when she's excited sometimes, not all the time. See, portal.
Everybody can hear it.
That's what I noted in my notes. But there's no connective property over who gets triggered or not. Especially if you consider that first guy in the opening to be human.
Yeah.
No. This is Al Shahal.
了解。すぐに向かいます。あなたたちはシェルターに避難してください。
なんだよ。何が始まった？
バールが発生しました。これからここは戦場になります。
戦場？
It's a battlefield. See, that's the CGI that I was talking about. That compared to everything else, they look very out of place.
Not really. I think you have to think that they look out of place for them to look out of place. Like, if they were like, reboot level CGI in this, I'd be like, wow, that was weird. But this isn't like Lion Barrels of Iron mechs in that show either. They look fine. They're even, like, they got the coloration, they got the same, what do you call it? Not pattern, texture. Like, texture. They match the texture of everything. I suspect if there is actual stuff added to this, it's going to be at the very end. And there came Big O. Cast
Well,
in
like
the
a
name
magic-
of God, ye not guilty.
More like a magic girl transformation thing.
I was recently watching Voltaise 5, where the Voltaise machine puts itself together and one of the bad guys is watching it on screen. And it's like, I really appreciate that they showed the bad guy watching it happen on screen, indicating it's not happening in some like other world where like magical girls transform. I think that's new. I don't remember her mentioning the goddess. Well, because remember, I listed the whole love is hope, love is singing is love thing.
That's something new, though. Never seen a pod with arms like that.
Well, it's been like 50 years. What do you want?
Yeah.
Sure you have. Mars Attacks. Not Mars Attacks.
In Macross, I'm talking about.
War of the Worlds. That's what I meant. Now, if only they could sing some rock songs. I was just thinking earlier, rewatching Macross FB7 reminded me how much I disliked Macross Dynamite 7. Well, because it's Basara by himself, so none of the other characters I really enjoy. And Basara not singing the songs that I like of Basara's. I think it's about that time that I came up with the Kira connection. You know, not only shooting to maim, or not shooting to maim, shooting to disable, but also the fact that Kira's mech gets repowered by like a beam that shoots out by a...
Yeah. I mean, their intent is to protect people here, so... And this is what they're doing, and being very efficient about it.
Well, not efficient. I mean, dramatic. They're being very dramatic about it. But I think that's to the point of making people so not afraid. Pickle Rick! It's gotta give you a huge headache.
Huh?
It's gotta give you a huge headache.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like his blood pressure is through the roof. Like he's literally almost eyes popping out of the sockets. Don't throw gang signs around here. And that's
Until
when
the bad guys show
Windermere
up.
attacks. I don't know they're bad guys. Again, this is like way too early. I mean, if they are indeed an alien race, as I was saying before, who's to say that they're not being invaded by these people? Like I said, they only called him White Knight, so that's why I put his name down until we get told later. Kind of reminds me of the shot from Origin where the guy is launching from the thing and it gets kneed in the cockpit before he does anything or goes anywhere. Oh, damn it, I missed one. Oh, that's a character.
Yeah.
Don't have him on the board. Didn't know that if you took notes. Shot.
Now they're willing to just go, you know, non-lethal.
Mirage, this is kind of ironic if you think about it. And of course he has a Reaper or a Shinigami on his. Also, he just referenced the wind, something that Freya has been referencing.
That sounds like a
Alto
like
thing?
a bagpipes. It sounds like bagpipes.
Oh,
bagpipes
sorry,
in the
I thought
background.
you were talking about the sound of the wording.
Yeah, I know.
You're referencing music that I can't actively hear right now and don't remember hearing. There's that fold sonar. Again, I'm just anticipating the Bar Syndrome to be a weapon used in an act of independence or something. It just feels like the kind of show where the good guys are in it unintentionally being used by bad people or something.
And then the music picks up. I like that song.
Don't remember if I mentioned it, but my thought process was the green one is the one that's either sick, dying, infected, or whatever. The one that's going to fall off. There we go, the flashback. As I mentioned.
So why is Windermere so important then?
It's the next planet over.
And?
Well, it's not the next planet over. Ragnar is the next planet over. It's the one that we followed in the opening thing. Well, this is extra stuff.
Yeah.
It ended with her running towards the thing before.
Is that a VF-19? I guess.
Oh, that merged with her hair. Kind of the same way the other Windermere guys have that little thing at the end where I said they were an alien race. Well, tell them to wait. It's only 1:30.
Oh, he's breakdancing his way to combat.
They're
I love
breakdance fighting.
Yeah.
It's that whole wind thing again. Hope you didn't stay home today.
Yeah. Look.
いけないボーダーラインないどっちでも全てこぼしてみせるキリキリマン
なんだこの感じ
Also, I lost my dick.
And
風
right till the climax comes. Okay. Okay.
I mean, it's not happening. We lost all the parts. Well, at least they even added it there. 1+.
Yeah. And they did the whole grab the girl with the mech and take her away bit that we've seen before.
As it turns out, Hayate is,
A dancer?
well, we already knew it was a dancer. I mean, like, I don't know, a boxer? I mean, he's got the fast
I'd say like
footwork
capoeira,
fighting style.
yeah. Like capoeira, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit at extra there. It wasn't mixed in with the rest of the episode. It's just like the .89 one, they cut stuff off.
Yeah.
And then left it to the 1+.
Hmm.
Oh, is that all we get? That was a real blink and you miss it.
Looks like a SDF Macross style ship.
Well, yeah, but we're on Al-Shahal. More likely we'll wind up at Ragnar since that's where auditions are happening, and that was our audition of determination. And I doubt that we moved the SDF Macross to some random planet.
I mean, no, they made more ships than that still, so maybe one
Not
of
for
those.
long.
I mean, they made the global.
Yeah, we know 2. You said they made ships. It's like all we know they made 1. I have no idea why they made 1 in that style.
It could be easy to replicate.
Well, I mean, assumedly not. They only made 1. And assumedly right after they made the the first one they made was Mega Road. And then we know there was like 4 to 12 Mega Roads. So they made the Mega Roads. They didn't make more of these. I think more likely they just found another SDF Macross ship and then rebuilt that. Because maybe that's the one that we found in space. That we actually just went back.
No, well, the one in Frontier was a global, so that was made by humans.
I'm not disputing that. No, I don't think we know. I am disputing that. I'm disputing the thing you said after I said I'm not disputing that. I'm disputing that we made it. Not that we had it. I'm saying that might be the one that we encountered in space at the end of SDF Macross. They said, oh no, it's probably might be trapped. We'll leave that alone so that they could go on to assault the asteroid factory so that they could take that and all that back into Earth orbit. The fact that we've only ever seen 2 SDF Macross style vessels, and we've only ever seen 2 Salvation Army. It's the only word coming to my head. You could help me, you know.
Supervision Army.
Yes, we only seen 2 Supervision Army ships, and they were both the same type as the Macross. And that there's only 2 of those kind of ships in the entire series that we've seen. My extrapolation would be, we just went back and fixed that one. That's the global.
I don't think so. I think it could have been made for other purposes other than, because the Mega Road type ships and the Macross style ships are for long range exploration.
We've never seen any other Macross style ships, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Except
Macross, the Macross 5, Macross 7, and the Macross Frontier.
No. I'm talking about Macross. SDF Macross.
1, yeah.
Yeah, we've only seen the 1 and Global. And the 1 was built off of the ruins of a ship that crashed here on Earth. So we didn't create the base of that. We just rebuilt around it. Now, the 1 in space, we have another floating SDF style ship that we could rebuild the same way that we did with the Macross. That would explain both. That would explain the Macross.
That didn't look so great. It looks like a bunch of garbage. I don't remember it looking very much like a Macross.
No, it looked exactly like the one that crashed, except it was floating in space and had little like holes and little debris floating around. It wasn't like completely wrecked. It was no more wrecked than the one that crashed on Earth at the start of the time lapse of us rebuilding it. Because again, we didn't build the core of the SDF Macross. So it seems more likely that we went and just, well, no, there is. The fact that thing was filled with systems that we didn't understand and activated by themselves and had to figure out through the course of the show.
Yeah, but once you figured it out, you can just replicate it because there's no technology.
It just seems like we didn't, though. Again, this is, to me, the Occam's razor of explanations. You're saying, oh, we just mass-produced them, but we've never seen that. We've only seen the global. And what did we do in the past? We found the wreckage of a Supervision, the word already escaped me, Supervision Army ship, and we rebuilt around it. Well, we've only ever seen one other one, and we've only ever seen one other wreckage of a Supervision Army ship. Boom. The explanation of the SDF Macross is the explanation for that one. It's an existing thing we can just apply to a second thing, rather than saying, oh, well, we reverse engineered everything, built a whole fleet of them, never saw another one except for one on screen. It makes more sense to me that we explain it. It makes more sense to me that we explain it with a thing that we already have explained.
Okay.
To me, the Occam's razor is not creating a new explanation, but literally just repeating the thing that we already did once before. It's easier. Well, that's the. I've chosen, as I already stated before, not to read sarcasm today. So just acknowledge that anytime you go be sarcastic on me, that is literally you agreeing with me.
Okay, sure. That whatever worked for you, yeah.
Well, I would also state that if you have no real argument other than to say sarcastic shit, then obviously you have no argument, and I think that also indicates that.
My argument is that there's nothing stopping them from doing it, and it would make more sense for them to test it and know.
I think scale and time is probably what's stopping them from doing it, because they're more focused on building mega roads. Because given that we saw at the start of the Frontier, where we see all the mega road ships go out, and we don't see anything labeled like SDF Macross. It's mega roads, and then the Macross colony ships. They don't show any SDF style ships.
Those were before colonization. They're talking about the colonization ships.
Yeah, literally 1 year late. Remember, there's no time span here. We do SDF Macross, and 1 year later, the mega roads launch. So there's no time span in which they're not building the mega roads.
But they could be building other stuff as well. They have to rebuild the defense fleet for the Earth, which they did.
I think this falls into the argument of supply chain and the same debate we had. Well, I don't think it's an art. We didn't have a debate, but conversation that we had about what's the population of Earth after it all got destroyed, right? How are we sending out ships with millions of people on it when it's only the population of really the SDF Macross and whatever pockets of survivors may have existed on Earth? Like, where are these people coming from? I don't think there's enough people to have done all the stuff that you're saying. I don't have a problem with, but I have a hard time envisioning how we built the mega roads to begin with, like so many of them that launched in 1 year. Like, we brought the asteroid in to build a bunch of Zentradi stuff because it's an automated factory. Because the Zentradi can't fucking build anything. That's the one thing we know. They can't repair. They can't repair. Blah, 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 blah. Just melt into a pile of goo. I wish I had a green screen just to, like, melt into a pile of goo, have another one of me walk around, just sit down to continue the argument. Yeah, sorry about that. Clone number 5. My clone. Half-life. Because apparently giants and Trotty live forever. My clones live for 80 to 110 years.
Yeah. Anywho.
Again, it's a matter of logistics. I disagree with you on the element of where global came from, because I find one answer to be simpler than making one up.
You also find the idea of reviving the Supervision Army.
It's not reviving. They're established.
Yeah, but we haven't heard anything about
the SDF Macross comes from the Supervision Army. To say that they don't exist is like, where did the SDF Macross come from? Where did the second ship that we came across at the end of SDF Macross come from? Just an alien species we never saw ever again.
Well, no, I'm not going to go there. You're not going to like it.
Oh, the spoiler that you already know from this season? That's the literal. I mean, I don't know what a source you could have because. Oh, are you gonna go with the? Yeah, I'm about to say you're gonna go with the. I literally thought you're not gonna like it. What's the one thing you know I'm not gonna like? Well, it's not Meltron either. They don't have that design ship. We know what ship designs they have. They're very sleek, futuristic, not blocky ass fuck Supervision Army ships. These things were flying bricks. We saw it when they were trying to repair it when it crash landed on Earth. Plus, again, the one that we saw in space that my boy, one appearance at the post end of the show got. So yeah, those things were just flying bricks. That doesn't fit to the Meltron example. Meltrati, whatever the fuck. Bad idea that never gets brought up except for one other time. Because again, remember in Fleet of the Strongest Women, they're just a Zentradi fleet.
Which all of them fall in love with Basara because, of course, they did.
Well, who wouldn't? He's basically, what was the name of the movie? Rock of Ages. He's basically Tom Cruise from Rock of Ages.
With that, leaving that note, this episode, I like what they added. They're leaving in a cliffhanger. Well, the other one left in a cliffhanger because she was just running there. This one is a little more.
Yeah, like another minute of cliffhanger.
Yeah, but it has more use to Hayate. Like Hayate's like, oh yeah, I'm just here doing nothing. It's all her. He actually does something. Which I think it's going to be. They're going to be the two new characters that are going to be our point of view characters. I guess, maybe.
I mean, it feels more like an ensemble.
True, but we just have to fix. Most of the episode spends time with the two of them, so I think they're gonna be we're new to this, and when people explain, what's Walkure, what do we do, how does this work, they're gonna be explaining it to them because they're the new people, right? And also the fact that she's from Windermere, apparently that's important for some reason.
For some reason,
we don't know. Do you know the reason was that?
My literally first paragraph about my notes was about the whole Ragna of Windermere thing. My whole she's lying about her backstory was about the Windermere thing and how Hayate was shocked that she could be from Windermere.
My whole
observation about this episode was about the fact that her hair gem thing merged with her hair, and it's essentially the same thing that the Aerial Knights have going on with their hair, indicating that they're also from Windermere. Everything I've said indicates towards the importance and who and what Windermere is.
But we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is, other than another planet, and why they're attacking this planet, and why are they connected to the
no, it's also not like I tried to indicate that possibly a whole, like, maybe these are the invaders and they're the natural inhabitants because they're the alien race and that we're the encroaching force. Maybe, I don't know, that
that's a maybe. That's
I know, because that's all we can do. I don't know what you're doing if you're not trying to guess at what's going to happen.
I don't have enough. I told you I don't have information yet. I want to know what's going on. So if they give me more information that says yes, definitely.
I've watched this episode 3 times. I've got all the information the show is going to give.
Up to this point.
Yes, that's what I'm indicating. Is that I've extrapolated every possible thing that I could to a point that you listen to me talk about notes. Where, I don't know. The problem is that we pause and stop so many times. It feels like we talked to notes for 30 minutes, but probably like 10 minutes.
We don't know yet.
No shit.
It's important.
My problem is you always say this, we don't know yet, like as though we're not trying to figure it out. I'm writing notes, I'm keeping my notes this time so I can try and figure shit out as we go. But, I mean, I feel like I'm nailing everything here with whatever the show is able to give me.
Yeah, there's no confirmation in anything that you said so far, so yeah.
Yeah, so bullshit, wasting your time, Theta. Yeah, damn it.
There is a difference between knowing and conjecture. It's like, I think this could be it, but you don't know for sure, versus knowing for sure. And I say, we don't know for sure. So your conjecture is conjecture until such time as it's proven.
Some people like to say hypothesis or theory. Conjecture has a real feel of, you bullshit artist, you're just lying. You're lying about everything. It's all conjecture. Name one person who's ever used conjecture in the positive sense.
Well, if it's proven right, it's not negative.
Yeah, if it's proven right, weirdly, it's not conjecture. You know?
Which
Yeah,
stops being
yeah, but-
conjecture because it's proven right.
Yeah, because conjecture is the negative form of a theory or hypothesis or whatever, you know? Conjecture just has a negative connotation to it. You're choosing a negative word to express what I'm trying to do here. You
So
could
let's
just
say
say you could just say you're guessing. Guessing doesn't have a negative or positive.
Well, actually, guessing does sound have a bit negative here as well. So let's say hypothesis.
I
You
don't.
have a
Where do
working
you
hypothesis.
read? This isn't a debate right now. I'm just actually asking. Where do you read the negative in guessing?
People say, "Oh, you're just guessing," like that. You know.
Yeah, I don't know, because even then, it sounds more like a I don't. The words aren't coming to my head. You know, but you would say like to a child, you're just guessing. You know, it's not that you're. It's implying that you don't know, but it feels so neutral a word to me that that's a childish thing to do. You're just guessing. You know, you have to extrapolate a different extrapolation. That's another one. You have to extrapolate a whole other meaning to the sentence.
So let's leave
to
it
make...
then in hypothesis. You have a working hypothesis, and we'll see.
Well, no, actually, that's the difference there, though. I think what's the difference between a theory and a hypothesis is that one requires evidence and the other is just a statement.
I think a hypothesis is a statement that begs.
I think a bowling ball and a feather will fall at the same velocity at a given height.
That's your hypothesis.
And then I do
theory.
a little bit of testing, and it becomes
a theory.
Right. So, I don't know. Again, the element is that I've stated all the facts I could pull from the episode in a whole note section. And my point, it's weird. I think the weirdness here is that what I've stated as opposition to your guesses. Well, because you've guessed that things are black and white. That these guys are the bad guys because they're attacking. And I've only stated my theory that maybe the Windermere people are actually the oppressed people and that they're trying to flip the script on us by having them attack in the first episode to make them seem like the bad guys. So I only stated that because, again, you're stating what's visible on screen the same way that I am. I'm just recontextualizing it in a different way. You ever watch the Ingoodening of No Man's Sky? Internet historian video where they show the development of No Man's Sky and then how it failed, and then they didn't go on social media for like 3 months, and everyone thought they just took the money and fucking ran with it, and then they come out and they start putting stuff. In the Ingoodening of No Man's Sky, it's that perspective, how the hype went wrong, how he lied on camera about features the game should have, all that shit. And then it goes halfway through the video, it goes, same story, different perspective, and then it gives you the perspective of them as a development team, to the fact he's an introvert, not good on camera, how they did come back and then redevelop the game with no profit motive whatsoever. Same story, different perspective. That's all I'm trying to give here. That maybe they're not the bad guys. Anime has a habit of trying to flip the script on you as a twist. The element at the beginning of the show showed us 2 ships heading there, Windermere and Ragna, and Freya has this whole thing where she's witnessing a fire as a child, and at the same time has all this modern technology, maybe implying that whatever went to Windermere did not succeed.
But if she's the victim of the UN or the new UN forces invading her planet, why does she want to join Valkyr?
I don't think she's a victim. I think she's one of the alien races. Also, I would might have a suspicion that Valkyr is also that alien race, because they also have their, as I mentioned in my notes, they're being affected by her singing, which might indicate that they're like some sort of joint group thing, that they're all the same, whatever they are. I mean, for all we know, Valkyr is the extended of Macross. Or not the extended, that's not be right. I'm trying to indicate towards a group that's being used by another group for their own purposes while not being a part of that group themselves. The extended kind of worked that way as a good example in the moment, but I'm not saying that the Valkyr were created by nuns. It's weird to say that out. Volkir weren't created by nuns, obviously. You know, no, by the element that maybe Chaos or Delta Squad are using members of this alien race that have the ability, because it also seems like if the indication is that whatever is in Windermere is also the one singing and then causing the VAR syndrome, and that these people also have the ability to sing and disrupt the VAR syndrome, that both of those powers might come from the same place, and thus if one comes from Windermere, then both could come from Windermere. So these people are being used by one side, but the power comes from the other side.
Yeah. I would hold back on that until see what happens.
Well, I wouldn't, though, because that's not how I enjoy shows. Literally, if you've not, I guess, seen any of my solo reaction stuff, it's all I do. Like, I watch Apothecary Diaries, and I'm trying to figure out a background conspiracy that mostly I made up. But I've always said, hey, there's no conspiracy here. I still enjoy the show without it. But for the time being, I see these interconnected things. And as it turns out, by episode 10, I was right about a whole lot of stuff. So the stuff that I made up turns out to be true.
Oh, there you have it.
I mean, that's just a double reward, right? I'm going to reach into the dark water. Might be a coin in there. Well, look, catfish.
Okay. There's something there.
Oh, that's what you do. You put your arm in the water, and a catfish swallows your arm, and you just catfish. Usually it's like a log or something, but dark water still works. So either that or you put your arm in and you're dead, because that's what Pirates of Dark Water worked. The dark water just kills anything it touches.
Or, actually, doesn't it mutate it, people?
I'm pretty sure it just kills. That's why you always got to get out of the area the dark water is coming into. Because it also would destroy your ship and everything, if I recall right. Unless you had the artifacts. I don't really know. Darkwater never got finished, so...
Yeah, that's true. It was an interesting cartoon. Anyway, Delta 01
No.
Plus.
Nope. If it was 01 Plus, it would take place before the last thing that we watched, which was 0.89. Math doesn't work yet, right?
Macross 1 Plus.
No, that would have been a bonus material for SDF Macross.
Macross Delta plus 1.
Plus 1 now.
1 plus. All right.
Macross Delta 1 Plus.
There you have it.
Deculture edition, I assume. I don't know. No, I think that was Frontier. I think this might just be Deculture edition.
So there you go.
All right. Well, if you don't have any other thoughts, then I guess once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions. It will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?